Hi, hope you're having a great day. You're watching J Entertainment, and for this video, I'm gonna be going over the first reactions and reviews of Hawkeye, which just came out, and they're actually pretty interesting to note. So I gathered a bunch of different critics' first reactions and reviews to give you what to expect from Hawkeye. You know, I gathered all this to tell you what can you expect from Hawkeye, both the good and the bad. So I chose a pretty good amount of critics. I chose 10 critics, and each one with different critiques to tell you what to expect from Hawkeye. And I think I give you some pretty unique perspectives, and I think I give you a pretty good idea of what to expect from the show. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna give you in this video. So make sure to watch through the end so you can know 100% what to expect and whether it's worth watching or not, and whether you'll like it or not. So yeah, definitely just watch it. I think you'll find these first reaction reviews also very interesting. But before I get started with that, please make sure to leave a like if you end up enjoying this video. They really help out videos, so if you could leave a like, then please leave a like. Please and thank you. As well, subscribe for more content on Marvel, especially. I'm definitely going to be covering Hawkeye for sure as a debut. It's covering it full on, so definitely subscribe for that. As well as for a lot of other Marvel stuff. For example, it's about to be the Simplicity, or by the time this video comes out, it's already the Simplicity. So I'm going to be covering a bunch of things, trailer reactions, and everything. So make sure to subscribe so you can get that full content coverage. And lastly, make sure to comment down below on how hyped are you for Hawkeye. I'm definitely very curious, so definitely make sure to tell me that down in the comments, as well as tell me what you're looking forward to the most in Hawkeye. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, so in case it's the first time that you're watching one of these videos from me, this is how the format is going to work. So usually I would be to the side looking this way, since that's where my notes are for where all the tweets are and everything. And then here's what I'm going to put the tweets right here in this section of the video. So if you want to read them by yourself, you can read it. But if not, I'll read them for you as well. I'm just going to put the image right here so you can see it. And I'm going to read it, and then I'll tell you what this means for the Hawkeye show. So that's how this formatting of this video is going to work. So yeah, let's get started with the first critic, and this one comes from Grace Randolph, and this is what she said. Hawkeye is more like the Marvel Netflix shows than movie-level shows so far on Disney+. But it's still a joy to watch. Hailey Stainfield and Jeremy Renner, my bad. You won't want to miss the opening on the first episode, and I should put that emoji of mind-blowing, fire, and crossbow. Join me live, watch along starting November 24th at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's what she said about the show. She also made a whole entire video about it. So some of the things that she said is that this was her least favorite first 2 episodes for the rest of the Marvel shows. But that's not to say that they were bad. It's just that she said that since the other ones felt more like movies, she ended up enjoying these more. But she also said that this one was still really good, really enjoyable, and that it feels, like I said, a lot like she said in this here. A lot like the Netflix show, both in the good and the bad way, that it feels a lot like those Marvel shows, especially on like how the show works, very street level, very kind of like more low budget than usual, very like street action, you know, type of stuff. So they say that's how it kind of feels for the show. So that's what she said about the show, and that's great. I think that's a good first reaction review. Of course, it has some negatives to it. For example, she said that some things like the action scenes sometimes were very bad lighted, and you could barely see anything. There was something about that, but overall, I think that it's still good. She did have a critique saying that she felt like the show kind of turned into the Kate Bishop show instead of the Hawkeye show. She says that it started off really good for the Hawkeye show and then kind of turned to the Kate Bishop show. So we'll see how this show actually ends up working out on that. But that's the first session review, and I think overall it's still a pretty good first session review. Okay, let's move on to the next critic, and this one comes from Matt Romke. I don't really have to say it, but this is what he said. The MCU steps back from big scale, and Hawkeye brings us a street level story full of heart. Hailey Stainfield is an instant MCU favorite, and Jeremy Renner plays the perfect veteran superhero. Prepare to fall in love with both Hawkeyes. This is that comic book brought to life. So that's another great first session review. So we see once again, Hawkeye is going to be way smaller scale, especially compared to the Disney Plus shows, which is probably where it makes it not feel like a movie, like Chris Randolph said. And they said it's a very street level show, just like Chris Randolph said, but this one said it's full of heart, so clearly it's going to be a lot of emotion involved into the show. So Hailey Stainfield is already an instant classic, just like Chris Randolph really praised Hailey Stainfield. So clearly Kate Bishop is going to be really, really well done in this show. Also, they said that Jeremy Renner is going to play like this veteran superhero, which I find like a very interesting angle to that. So keep in mind on that. I think that's pretty cool. And that it literally is like the Hawkeye comic book come to life, basically. So if you're a big Hawkeye comic book fan, like the Hawkeye comic book fan series, or the series of Hawkeye, I think you know what I'm talking about, the one that this series inspired on, then I think you'll really enjoy the show. Okay, moving on to the next critic. This one comes from Tessa Smith, and this is what she says. Hawkeye is perfect. 15 minutes in, and I was a sobbing mess. Feels the most MCU out of the Marvel shows with action and story. Great Kate Bishop introduction. Hailey Stainfield is amazing, but also the show Clint deserves. So many comic book nods. Avengers musical in real life, please. Hashtag Hawkeye. So this is another great first reaction review. First of all, they said the Hawkeye is literally perfect. So that's very strong. So clearly they really did love Hawkeye. Then clearly the first 15 minutes, so like the opening scenes, they're going to be very emotional. She said that she was already crying right after the first 15 minutes. So something very emotional is going to happen in those 15 minutes, which you'll get more of an idea as we go on through these kind of reaction reviews. But clearly something is going to happen in those 15 minutes. Also, they say that it feels more like the MCU with the shows, like the Netflix shows with the action and story. So it's more like MCU type of like basic formula than the other ones where they really try to experiment a lot, especially with Loki and Wandavison where they really try to experiment a lot. This one goes more to like the basics. And once again, praising Hailey Stainfield as Kate Bishop, so we're going there. And it said that Clint deserves this. This is the show that Clint deserves, which is great. Also, like I said, comic book nods, which means from that Hawkeye comic book. So clearly, fans are going to love that from this show. And they really want the Avengers musical to come to life, to real life. You know, they really want that to actually happen. Obviously, we saw that in the trailer. We saw some clips from that. And I think it's going to be really cool. Since everybody's like really praising that, I'm really excited to see that Avengers musical. I'm sure it's going to be hilarious. Okay, moving on to the next critic. And this one comes from Scott Menzel, and that's what he said. Hawkeye is my favorite of all the Marvel Studios series released thus far. Hailey Stainfield and Jeremy Renner are fantastic together. Love the banter between them. The Rogers, the musical scene, and Kate takes on Hawkeye brandings are hilarious. Oh, and Lucky the dog is the best. So that's a very frosty first review. He does have more to say, but I'm still with what he said here. So clearly, they said that this is their favorite premiere so far, or the favorite 2 episodes so far. So that's great. That's very interesting also because Chris Randolph said that this was the worst one so far, or because it's not as big and as creative as the other ones. And this was said that this is the best one. So clearly there's various opinions in that, and you might fall in different sides of the spectrum. So if you know what each critic's is kind of like taste is, if you know what Chris Randolph's critics taste is, and if you know what Scott Menzel's critic taste is, then you might realize where you fall in that category. Also, they said that again, Hailey Stainfield and Jeremy Renner have great chemistry together, which is great. They once again praised the Rogers musical, so I'm definitely very curious to see that. Very interesting. And they said the show was hilarious. And also, they mentioned Lucky the dog, which I'm sure is going to be adorable. And I'm sure a bunch of dog people are going to fall in love with. Okay, Scott Menzel also said, Hawkeye is a lot more grounded and contained than the other Marvel Studios shows. The show takes place over the course of 6 days and isn't afraid to be funny with a character who is normally overly serious. Hawkeye manages to strike the perfect balance of action, comedy, and drama. So he really liked this show for real. He really thinks that it's perfect action, comedy, and drama. So that's great. That's great. If it has that balance, then the show's gonna be great. Also, the show clearly takes course over 6 days. So it's a really narrow timing, which I guess kind of fits with WandaVision and Falcon Shoulder. They also took place over a really short amount of time. And also, they said it really gets to be funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously, especially with Hawkeye, who's usually a serious character. It goes on a funny route. So very interested. Okay, moving on to the next first reaction review, and this one comes from Ariel. And this is what he said, or she said, I'm not entirely sure. As he said, Hawkeye is a refreshing break from the grand scale, cosmic, and multiversal madness we've been seeing from the MCU recently. Going fully street level to deliver a fun and engaging Christmas-colored murder mystery. Full review on discussing film. So that's a very positive thing to say. They said it was very refreshing from that big grand scale. So like I said, it's up to taste. I know a lot of people that are going to hate that it's really small scale. They're like, I don't care about this. And a lot of people are going to be like him. And they're going to be like, yes, the smaller scale, I love it. It's refreshing and everything. So it kind of comes down to your taste. If you're okay with street level type of shows, more grounded type of shows, then you're going to love this. If you want big grand scale things like Loki, then I don't think this might be your favorite show. I think Loki's going to stay with your favorite show. Also, they said that it's definitely very Christmas themed, so that's great. And they said that it was a murder mystery, which is something that no other review has said, but it's a murder mystery, so that's definitely very cool. I have a couple theories on that, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I might do a different video on it. But yeah, that's very cool. That's awesome, and I'm kind of curious to see what that murder mystery is. Especially like in a Christmas theme. That sounds pretty awesome. That's a pretty cool pitch. Okay, moving on to the next first reaction review, and this one comes from Andy Ortiz, and that's what he said. The first 2 episodes of Hawkeye are really promising. Hailey Stainfield as Kate Bishop is everything you want her to be. Truly cannot wait to see her interact with Jelena. And Dad Barton is the purest. I won't spoil anything, but this it acknowledges Nat's deaths properly for me. So this is really a very positive first impression review again. And I'm gonna start with the main thing for me, the standout of this, and that is that they do Nat's death justice. So that's great because Nat is like one of my top 5 Marvel characters. She's really great, and I really felt like we didn't get to explore her death that much. So hopefully this show really does give her like that closure of the exploration of her death and everything. Really hoping for that. I really want to see Nat's death from Clint's perspective. How does he feel about this? We haven't really known enough about how he feels about this, so I'm definitely curious to hear that. And I don't know what they're gonna do with her, but clearly they're gonna explore Nat's death properly. So I'm curious for that. Also, they say Kate Bishop is gonna be great, and they cannot wait to see her with Yelena. So that is definitely what I'm looking forward to the most, also because Yelena and Kate Bishop and Hawkeye sounds like a great team up. So definitely signing up for that. Okay, moving on to the next recension review, and this comes from James Biscardi, and that's what he said. Hawkeye is a street level show through the lens of the MCU we've been waiting for. Hailey Stainfield steals every single scene she's in. It's also the most TV show like Disney Plus project we've gotten yet. Okay, so once again, street level show, and it's gonna be through the MCU lens. So it's gonna be like it's gonna have its own MCU twist. Again, Hailey Stainfield, they said that she steals every scene that she's in, so clearly she's gonna be really, really good in this show. And also, they said that this one feels like the most like a TV show than anything else that they got from Disney Plus. Probably because, like I said, it's a little bit of a smaller scale. It's probably gonna work a lot more with the formula of an actual show compared to, say, Wandavison or Loki and Falcon Soldier and Mandalorian even. Well, not really Mandalorian, but the 3 Marvel shows that we got in, the live action ones, they really do feel like kind of like big long movies rather than TV shows. So I can definitely understand that perspective. Okay, moving on to the next one, and this comes from Richard Newby, and that's what he said. Hawkeye is good, Christmassy, fun. It doesn't feel it does feel the least ambitious of the MCU series thus far. Obviously, that could change after the first 2 episodes, which they've only seen the first 2 episodes. Reminds me a bit of the Netflix series. Hailey Stainfield's Kate Bishop is a treat, and I can't wait until she meets Puge Jelena. So that's what he said. Another very positive first review. Christmas theme. They said it was a really good show. Again, it feels really not ambitious at all compared to the other shows, which, like I said, it might be a downer for some people, and it might be not a downer for some other people. Personally, it's a little bit of a downer for me because Loki was so great because of how ambitious it was for me. So seeing that here, it definitely brings it down. But at the same time, I do want to see a street level story, so I'm curious for that. Also, it said it reminds them a lot like a Netflix series. Once again, bringing it back to what Greatest Randall said about that. And they once again said that they can't wait to Hailey Stainfield and Yelena meet. So waiting for that team up for sure, or waiting for that fight. I don't know if it's going to be a fight or a team up, but I'm waiting for that for sure. Moving to the next one. This one comes from Steven Weintraub. I really can never see that last name, but that's what he said. Watch the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. What I loved about the MCU of Disney Plus shows is the Marvel's ability to go deeper into the characters in each series. Hailey Stainfield is a fantastic as Kate Bishop, and no chance fans don't immediately fall in love with her character. Hill said, I cannot wait for everyone to see the Rogers musical stuff so we can talk about it. I think the first episode it was 45 or 47 minutes, and the second episode was 49. Something like that. So let's break down this direction. Again, he said that, well, not again, but he really said that Disney Plus shows, what he likes is that they dive really deep into characters, which we wouldn't usually get for movie character development. So clearly, they're going to really dive into Hawkeye's character development, which I'm really excited to see that because he's really been undeveloped in the movies. Also, Kate Bishop, again, great as played by Hailey Stainfield. And the Rogers musical thing, again, they said it was really great, really hilarious, probably. So again, can't wait to see that, and I think it's going to have some pretty funny gags. And lastly, they said that the time, which is a standout for me, the time was around between 45 to 47 minutes. So pretty interesting for the first episode and 49 for the second episode. So clearly, it's pretty great. I think that's pretty great. It has pretty nice runtime. And remember, the first 2 episodes are already being the same day. So that makes it even more interesting for sure. Okay, moving on to the next version review, and this is the last one I'm going to be going over. So this is the last one, and this one comes from Britt Rivera, and this is what he said. I can finally yell about it. Hawkeye is everything I've ever wanted in a series. The opening scene made my heart burst. I knew Hailey was going to be perfect, but she still blew me away. She embodies Kate's humor, drive, and energy so well, and I love her every scene with her and Renner. He also said, as someone who finds Hawkeye's family just fine, I really like the little we got to see from Clint's dynamic with Laura, which is his wife, so far in the series. They're open and honest and supportive of each other, which is such a nice thing to see. No secrets for the story's sake, here, which we've all seen shows do that, which is really annoying. And he also said, I also love the way Hawkeye emotionally connects to the MCU. It's not about cameos, but believe me, I was looking for them. But about how previous events from the MCU have led the characters to where they are. So clearly, this is a very more deep first reaction review that I really do enjoy. So let's start breaking it down. So first of all, they love it. The opening scene again sounds like it's really great because everybody gets raving with the first opening scene. Clearly, it's gonna be sad and everything. So very good to see that. I think it might have to do with Nat's death, but we'll see. Also, Hailey Stainfield as Kate Bishop again, great. And they said that the family aspect really works for them, which is something that we've barely seen from Hawkeye in the MCU. And it seems like we're still going to get very little of it in this show, but they said it still really worked. And lastly, they said that it really connects past MCU events to the characters to bring them to where they are now. So once again, I'm going to think that they're going to have the relationship with Nat really be the focus of probably the first opening scene to really bring those emotions in. And so yeah, that's what the reaction reviews, that's what 10 first reaction reviews from 10 different critics have said about Hawkeye. So clearly the show seems like it's going to be really good. So definitely make sure to check it out on November something, right, the day before Thanksgiving. And it's going to debut with the first 2 episodes. I already said this, the runtime and everything. So yeah, definitely it seems like really great. So check it out. Don't forget to check it out. And yeah, please, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It would be very helpful. It took me a while to get this together, edit it, and everything. So please leave a like if you can. It's very helpful. As well as subscribe for more videos like this. Like I said, I'm definitely covering Hawkeye and a lot of more Marvel stuff for sure. I'll probably have a bunch of trailer reactions over the Disney Plus, the announcements or trailer releases and everything. So definitely check that out in my channel as well. And lastly, and you can check out my Eternals video right here about who are the Eternals rank. So if you want to check out that video, go ahead and check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. And lastly, comment down below on where your hype level is for Hawkeye. I'm definitely very curious. Did these first reaction reviews increase your hype level? And what are you the most curious to see from the Hawkeye show? Is it the Rogers musical? Is it Hailey Stainfield as Kate Bishop? Is it, I don't know, the character development for Hawkeye? I don't know, but definitely tell me that down in the comments. And that'll be it. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And this is JV Entertainment, out.